Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Have a look at the links that I have for you so you can explore and master this amazing deck. Welcome to the July forecast. We are doing the monthly forecast across all of the signs, and we are, as usual, starting with our 3 cards from the Astro Clock, and then we're going to draw a 9-card portrait on top of these to get more detail about them and into the month. So let's go ahead and start with you, Aries. We have the Key, Tower, and Mountain from your Astro Clock for the month of July, and the Key is a bright card. It brings success and solutions. The Tower and Mountain can mean the deep past. So this can be a reference to a location from a previous time or somewhere farther away from you, or an old thing that is materializing or coming through this month. The Key brings success, so it does suggest that there is going to be answers or positive ways forward from this situation. Now, it's also possible, Aries, that the Mountain points to an obstacle because it can be rigid and it's like a barrier, so it can represent something in your way. The thing about the Tower with the Key is that there are solutions, but they can take a bit more time. So be patient with this and also be open to insights and solutions coming from this location or from this episode or chapter, and see what is the outcome of it. So let's draw these 9-card portrait cards and let's see what else we get about these 3 and what insights we get for your month. Okay, Aries, here is your 9-card portrait, and it is quite focused on news and contact and communication. We have the bird in the middle, which is very much about a conversation. We have the letter, which is the classic card of news. And the book can also be a revelation of sorts, especially with these cards. And on top of this, we have the garden, which can point to a location or a meeting, and it is usually about people and community. So there's plenty of cards that are focused on contact and communication. And this works well with the Astro Clock cards because we do see that there's like a solution or some insight that comes from this situation here. So it's very much aligned with these. On top of the news cards, Aries, we have some very bright cards. We have the Star, Clover, and Sun. And these are 3 of the brightest cards of the deck, along with the Key. The Clouds and Mouse are a little bit challenging, but they're not as dramatic, and they are easily overcome by these bright cards in here. So let's get into the lines. We have the Clouds with the bird and letter. So you could be thinking or maybe stressing about this communication, but it's definitely a good idea to just be patient for it to come through. Or, Aries, if you're the one who's communicating, then figure out your priorities and your thoughts and then express them. The Star with the bird and mouse is also supportive with overcoming challenges, even though we have the mouse on the right-hand side of the line. The Star is very bright, so don't be overwhelmed by anything. Don't be intimidated by anything. Again, figure out what you want to say or how you want to respond, and then do that. You don't want to sit on the sidelines, and also you don't want to waste time. And you don't want to focus on the negative as well, Aries, because there's lots of positive things happening. Now, the more challenging reading is this top line. We have the Clouds and Mouse on either side of the garden. And this can point to a stressful environment or a situation that's confusing, or there can be some people who are a bit negative or unpleasant. So you could be in such a situation. Now, what happens after is really bright. So there's a few different scenarios. It's either you vocalize your issues and you bring them up, so you avoid bottling up further, or there is a solution that comes through talking things out. Very likely that there's a solution. The book with the bird and sun is a wonderful piece of news, a very positive revelation, probably something that you want. The Star with the clover and letter is very similar, as it suggests that this news or this information is very supportive and it is exactly what you want. So the good news is coming, just hang in there. And also, Aries, there is a chance that maybe you need to pursue it a little bit. That is possible. But if it's you waiting for it, then don't overstress because it is coming through. The Clouds with the book and Star confirms this over and over. The doubts or the question marks or the unknowns are resolved. The garden with the bird and clover is very good for contact and communication with people or this person. And you certainly come out with some very good takeaways and some very good news. Similar here as well. The mouse with the sun Sun easily overcomes the mouse, and you get this wonderful news that we see with the letter. So the lines keep repeating themselves. It's very focused on this news, this communication, or this revelation. It certainly aligns with your goals, and it works out, I would say, almost exactly the way you want it. Now, the thing about these cards, Aries, is that they're flexible in terms of the context. Yes, there's a strong social element through this communication, but in terms of work or something personal in your life, it's flexible in this regard. It could be something more official. It could be something more casual. It could be something more social or more personal. The idea is the same. The doubts are going to be overcome. The good news that you want comes through, and there's a really good contact and collaboration here. So they're really nice cards across any context. The green light, the good news is coming through. Just hang in there and it's going to materialize, or see if you can probe a little bit to nudge it through, and it will come through. Really nice cards for answering wishes, hopes, for good contact, for good communication, for connecting with others and reconnecting with others, and solutions ahead. So it's broad in this sense. Let me know what you make of it, Aries. Let me know in what context this news, this contact came through. I look forward to your thoughts and your perspective. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Taurus, welcome to your July forecast. We have your 3 cards from the Astro Clock for the month of July, and these are quite a triplet. We have the Scythe and Ring along with the Man. Now, as you probably know, Taurus, the Scythe and Ring is essentially the combination for a divorce or a separation. And we see the Man on the other side of the ring. So this highlights that this is a separation from a person as opposed to letting go of some commitment or some involvement. So these are some potentially challenging cards, but not necessarily, because the Ring and Scythe can be a welcome release from someone or something. So let's put these cards aside and see what this situation is about, if we get any clues into who this man is or who this person is, and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Taurus, here is your portrait, and unlike your Astro Clock cards, it is mainly focused on the bright side and the things that I feel ensue as a result or after this separation here. The Road is the one card that aligns with a change, which would be aligned with these Astro Clock cards. But otherwise, the rest of the cards are really bright, probably suggesting some kind of relief or a situation that gives you a bit more freedom over the longer term. The central card is the Tower, and the Tower in the middle is often a card of protection. It is lovely with the Clover and Sun and Star. These are very bright cards, and they tell us that you are protected and you have a sense of guidance. It is also a good card for suggesting that what's ahead is on the right track. And certainly with these bright cards, there's a lot of positive outcomes that are ahead. So really strong positive cards. The Bird and Road on either side of the Tower can suggest a change or a move from the past, especially with the Road on the other side of the Tower, which points to letting go of this past chapter and moving on. And this would align very well with the Astro Clock cards, although the Astro Clock cards are a lot sharper in their nature, in their character here. The Bird as your top card can mean that you're the one who announces the change. Taurus, it is your cover card, so it gives you a main advice here. The Mouse with the Tower and Garden can mean that you're tired from a certain space or environment, and this could be the reason why you're moving away from it. The Mouse suggests stress and things that are dwindling away, so it can be a loss of interest, and you feel that things are tapering off at this point. The thing about the Tower and Garden is that it sounds like you've given this space or this situation a lot of time and the time that it deserves. So now you're moving on. So this could be very much what's going on here. The Bird with the Clover and Garden suggests that a conversation goes really well. And it's also good for meeting new people or another environment in your life that is more supportive than this one. So this is a bright prospect here moving forward. Again, the Bird as your cover card can encourage you, Taurus, to take the step to communicate and to reach out. The Sun with the Tower and Star is beautiful all around. This This is all around success, healing, and long-term security and wish fulfillment across the board. So it's quite a flexible triplet that points to good things happening in just about any context and in any way. So lovely cards here and very reassuring. The mouse with the letter into the road, this would be the main line that aligns mostly with the Astro Clock cards. Again, the Astro Clock cards are very sharp and very clear, whereas the cards in your portrait, first of all, they're a lot brighter, and second, when it comes to the separation that we're seeing, like in the bottom line, the cards are softer. The letter with the mouse points to a difficult piece of news or a difficult announcement, and the road is probably this parting that we're seeing. So it sounds like it's on you, Taurus, to announce this change and this separation, and I think it's going to go really well. The mouse is a bit challenging, but really compared to all of these bright cards, it is not a big deal at all. The bird with the sun and mouse also supports this, that you can quickly overcome the issues. And this line here also encourages you to move past this relationship or this situation that is at this point becoming a bit more tiresome. The clover with the tower and letter is another focus on the news. The thing about the tower with the letter is that it can emphasize a more official, formal kind of interaction. So it's possible that this has to do with work or something that's more in your professional life. That's possible. But again, the clover really encourages you to bring this to a head and to get in touch and to reach out. The garden with the star and road is a beautiful triplet for all sorts of possibilities. It's great for community, it's great for changes, it's great for healing and moving away from this environment, and it's also great for success in an environment and even popularity. So it can be these different areas in your life or these different spaces and communities where you're moving away from some and connecting with others. So overall, these are really bright cards, Taurus, that bring a welcome change. And they encourage you to move away from this person or to separate from your involvement with them. And the cards here in the portrait clearly tell you that you would be on the right track for doing that. You are in for growth and healing, and there are beautiful prospects ahead. So you don't want to stay stuck in any situation that is limiting your potential. So that is lovely. News is good, change is positive, any challenges are easily overcome, success is ahead, healing and relief are all ahead. So really, really nice cards. Let me know what you make of them, Taurus. I'd be curious to know who this person was and what your connection with them was, and if you are in fact making a change or you're making some kind of adjustment in the relationship. I look forward to your thoughts and perspective. Thank you for tuning in. As always, very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, welcome to your July forecast. We have your 3 cards from the Astro Clock for the month of July. And these are looking pretty bright, especially for money and business. We have the ship with the fish, which by itself is really good for seeing results and seeing your effort pay off. And earlier, we have the tower, which can mean a few things. The tower can be a card of work and business. It can represent certain organizations, official environments, and places like that. So you do well in this space. So it's possible that this is something you'd been working on for some time and now you're seeing results pay off. So very exciting. One more possibility is that the tower represents something legal or administrative, but with the ship and fish, things move forward positively. So exciting cards, especially for work, money, and business, Gemini. Let's put these aside and let's draw your portrait and see what else we get about them and what other insights we have for your month. Okay, Gemini, here is your portrait. It's looking pretty bright. We have the ship in the middle. We have the ship in both sets of cards. So this really emphasizes the element of progress and movement. It is also a card of travel, by the way, but I have to say that in this context, things are not as likely to be materializing. We'll get to this in a bit. We do have the whip, which is challenging, and we see it in the right-hand side column. So this could be adding a challenge, but we also see it with the rider, which is often a combination for things happening faster. We have the beautiful star as your cover card. So this is telling us that you are hopeful and you have a really good and optimistic attitude. And it certainly encourages you to have that attitude. With the ship, you can look forward to things materializing in a positive way. The book at the end of the line can mean that there are some mysteries or some things that are still hanging, but my feeling with this right-hand side column, Gemini, is that they are soon going to be revealed. The coffin with the ship into the rider can mean that you need to bring something to completion and you need to move forward into something else. So this is a combination that asks you not to waste time, to bring things to a close, to keep moving forward and to make progress, especially tangible progress that you can see. The ship and rider, along with the coffin, might suggest travel as well. The idea of getting away and possibly being absent for some time is also possible. The star with the dog and rider is great for a meeting with someone or a get together with this person. You could also get support or some news from this person, but certainly with the star, it looks really positive. And I think this is part of the progress that we're seeing in your cards. The garden with the ship and whip can point to some challenges, especially with this, how you move forward. So things are picking up. I think also things could get a bit busy. This is my feeling because we have the whip and it can feel a bit bumpy. You could also feel like you're all over the place. The stress can go up and you could be really busy just, working through your goals and seeing them also materialize. So this inspires you to do more, but there can also be a higher level of stress. In another sense, the ship and whip can compromise the trajectory of the ship, if you like. And this was my feeling in terms of going places and traveling. You could either have a lot to do, or it could be a little bit messy or all over the place. And it can also be a suggestion for you to cancel some commitments or some projects. It seems to me you're going to be pretty busy, Gemini, so you might need to prioritize. The coffin with the letter and book is definitely a suggestion of something completing, which is great, but also there can be some delay with the news or the information that you need to move forward. Still, it does come through as we saw in other lines. The star with the garden and coffin can suggest a few things, again, like we've seen before. Maybe you're going somewhere and you're going to be absent for some time. That's possible. Another suggestion is that you bring things to a close. Maybe you wrap up your involvement in a certain situation here. The dog with the ship and letter is great for news and progress, and I really think this could be a collaboration. We saw the dog with the top row here with the star and rider, so you could get the support of someone, a collaboration with someone, or this could be the person who brings you the good news. The rider and whip, like I said, is a card that brings up speed and moving forward quickly. It can also feel a bit urgent. The thing about the book at the end of the line is that it can bring up things that are unknown, but with the whip and rider, you certainly want to make an effort, Gemini, to bring out any question marks, anything that is hidden, any unknowns. You need to highlight them and bring them out in order to deal with them. So you can't waste time on this. Things are progressing. You have a lot to do. So if there are things that are not clear, you have to clarify them so that you can move forward with a smooth path as much as possible. And also it's a good time to travel or go places, especially if you're taking time out. But I do want to caution you against not having a good plan. You don't want bad surprises or things popping up in your way without warning and having that rock your boat and, put you off in one way or another. So if you're going to go and travel and do these interesting activities, Gemini, then have a plan as much as possible. Generally, I think you're going to be pretty busy as things pick up and move forward, and you could feel that things are a little bit all over the place, but it's an opportunity to clarify things. My feeling is that this is focused mostly on work and business. We have the ship twice. But in terms of more personal things, I think a relationship works out well, but there seems to be some things that need to be maybe talked about or brought out into the surface. And it's also possible that you fall out with certain people or environments in favor of others and more supportive types. So these are the scenarios that we are looking at for you, Gemini, based on these cards. Again, I think the main idea is that you're going to be really busy getting things done, and that's a really good thing. Don't stop, move forward, and if issues come up, then deal with them as they come up. Let me know what you make of these ideas, if this was something personal or work related, who this person was, and what the challenge could have been here through the web. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Gemini. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, welcome to your July forecast. We have your 3 cards from the Astro Clock, and they are pretty bright. We have the flowers and the bird and heart, and this points to some good news, some happy news, and some positive conversations. I also suspect that this could be exciting for a relationship. The flowers and heart can be about flirting, and the bird has that element of anxiety. So it can be on the exciting side as opposed to anxious. So there can be some exciting developments here with a relationship, but if it's not specifically a love or a one-on-one kind of relationship, then it's still a very positive combination that suggests some good news and some good conversations are ahead. So let's go ahead and put these cards aside. Let's draw your portrait cards, Cancer, and see what else we get about these 3 and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Cancer, here is your portrait, and it's a little bit more challenging than the Astro Clock cards, but they do highlight the excitement and the anxiety that the bird can bring. We also have the man in the middle, which focuses on a relationship, and this aligns with what we thought with the Astro Clock cards. We do have a challenging pair here, the Scythe and Snake, but the good news is that it's on the left-hand side, and even though we have the clouds on the right, it's still not as challenging as these cards. So this tells us that you overcome these challenges. Let's get into the lines here and see what this is about. The Scythe as your cover card. This is really interesting. The Scythe as your main card, because it is a card of change and it is a sharp card that usually points to separations. With the Man and Rider, my feeling is more that you need to take a bit of risk with this person. So have a bit more courage, Cancer. Maybe reach out to them when you were holding back. The Child with the Man and Heart is lovely for a new relationship. It can represent someone who is a family person, has children, or it can be a new relationship, or it could be someone whom you already know and things are taking a step further. The heart is lovely because it points to some warm feelings with this person, and the Child in and of itself is also bright. So this aligns really well with the Astro Clock cards. Now the Scythe, Lily, and Heart suggests to me that you are changing pace and you are changing approach. And this Scythe here as your cover card is really strong, and it does encourage you to make changes. The thing about the Lily in the context of a relationship can mean a few things. For one, you want to maybe be less internalized, less reserved. So again, this idea of courage, of stepping out a little bit of your comfort zone. And the Lily can also point to your path. So with the Scythe, it suggests a change of approach. Maybe this has to do with being more open towards this relationship and doing things a little bit differently. The Lily is sometimes a card of work and career. We also have the Fish in the cards, so that this can highlight the job area or your work and business, and this person can be part of it. And so in this context, there can be some important changes for you, Cancer. So the Scythe in all circumstances encourages you to make changes and to embrace them. Now the Snake and Clouds on either side of the Man can be quite challenging. This would bring a bit of a negative turn to this person. Gladly, we have this lovely line here and the lovely bottom line and also the second diagonal. So there are other lines that counter the Snake and Clouds in this context. These would suggest someone pretty questionable and someone even deceptive. The thing about the Clouds is that you could be the one who is doubting this person, or they are, or both of you are. Maybe you go through a phase where you're not sure how the other person feels about the other, so how you feel about each other. In relationships, the Snake can be a card of cheating. That is possible. Perhaps there is a third party in the relationship. But in this context, Cancer, I feel there can be a change. There can be the third party falls out of the picture. We see this here. The Scythe with the Snake and Child points to a change and a new beginning. And the snake with the scythe together, they're quite challenging. You know, it can be pretty hurtful. It can be pretty difficult, but it's really nice to see the child on the bottom of this line of despair, because it suggests a turning away. So that is also a possible scenario. The child with the fish and rider is lovely for work, money, business, projects, objectives, and it does tell us that you're moving forward in something exciting. So again, there's an element of momentum that you need to get past any limitations or any sort of stuckness or doubt, Cancer, and move ahead, because it's pretty exciting. So again, this ties into this child here, this new beginning. Break away, make a change, and embrace this new beginning. The lily with the man and fish can point to someone professional, someone who is part of this opportunity. If this professional aspect is not coming into your life as a focus this month, and you're not seeing these events in this area, Cancer, it could still be someone in terms of this relationship, this personal relationship, and it can point to someone who is either well established, who makes good money, a business person type, and it can also mean that the relationship has longer term prospects where there's a common ground in terms of your money, in terms of how you approach life, and you know, these bigger frameworks in your life. So that could be really supportive for a relationship. The heart and clouds with the rider is generally positive because we have the rider on the other side of the clouds. The clouds is usually about doubts, and with the heart, it can be feelings. So you could be wondering how the other person feels. It can be your hesitation, the other person's doubts, and things like that. But the rider is really nice because it's a card of momentum, and it is able to move forward and move past any of these doubts, any of these issues. And it certainly encourages you to do that. So overall, Cancer, there's quite a lot of focus on a person, whether this is in your personal life, in your work life, or maybe both, and they're different relationships. But we're definitely seeing a change of approach and a nudge for you to have more courage to make changes and to approach things differently. And so it seems that you will spend time with this person and give this relationship a chance. And even though there can be some doubts or some other issues around the relationship, things move forward. It is, at the end of the day, quite exciting, even if there are some complications around it and some doubts that you could have about this person. So in the very least, Cancer, give this a chance and don't get stuck with these doubts or these thoughts. You know, just move forward with the relationship and enjoy this new beginning. And in terms of work, money, and business, then we could be looking at a new opportunity. Again, maybe it comes with some complications, but it looks like you're going to take it. This bottom line is especially strong for this. So an interesting set of cards. Let me know what you make of it, Cancer. Let me know what you feel the scenario was for you mainly, or maybe it was something else that you felt resonated with these cards. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, welcome to your July forecast. We have your 3 cards from your Astro Clock for the month of July. These are pretty neutral cards, Leo. They represent a person. We have both the woman and the dog, and these are both people cards. And in between them, we have the lily, which is often a card of longevity and stability and security when it comes to relationships. The woman can represent anyone. Usually it's someone who's pretty significant to you. And the dog is typically a friend, a colleague, a sibling, you know, someone at your level, as it were. The lily can point to a few different things. It can suggest someone senior, which is in contrast with the dog, which is usually a junior. Like I said, it can point to longevity and create security in the relationship. It can also represent someone professional or someone like a parent or someone older. And so this could be a relationship between someone older and younger. So really who these people or this person is flexible. It's going to come down to your specific circumstance. But in general, Leo, the lily suggests some kind of stability and predictability in the relationship. Now, the lily being a card of career, we could also be looking at something related to your work and a supportive relationship, I would say, in this context. But let's put these cards aside for now, and let's draw your Astro Clock cards, your portrait cards on top of the first 3 here. Let's see what else we get about them and what other insights we see for your month. Okay, Leo, look at this portrait. We also have people cards. We have the man this time, also the dog and the heart in the card. So it suggests a relationship and a focus on someone in your life. Now, we do have a couple of challenging cards, especially together, the clouds and fox. But in contrast, we have some very bright cards. We have the key, sun, clover that are very bright, especially on this side of the portrait. So it's going to bring some lovely energies and overcome whatever challenges the fox is going to bring. Now, another thing about the fox is that it is a card of jobs, employment, and discipline, tasks, that sort of consistent activity, even if it's not straight up a job. And this aligns well with the lily, which I said earlier is a card of career. So we could be looking at a relationship within the context of work, or perhaps a professional connection, if not directly in your work environment. And also people like lawyers, agents, people who support you in these ways, even doctors, or someone who is supportive and you have this kind of relationship with them can be the reference here. So the key with the fox and clover certainly suggests an excellent idea, an excellent strategy, a very good plan, and a very good implementation. So this is really good for implementing your strategy and working on the steps that you've set out. It's also really good for work and jobs. It's great also with colleagues or managing people. And as you know, the fox can be a bit tricky. So it can represent someone deceptive or, someone who's not so transparent. But with the key and clover and also other cards as we're going to see, it's clear that you have a really good handle on this relationship, Leo. It pays to be tactful and diplomatic and patient. That's also a quality of the fox that could come to your advantage. And with a very clever key, you're definitely going to overcome anything and also be really clever managing your work and people around you. The rider, fox and dog, is also about people because of the dog. It's like we said, it's a card of friends, colleagues, anyone at your level. And the fox can emphasize this idea of a colleague because it's associated with work. And with the rider, there's definitely some good steps moving forward here. So it sounds like you have to work with someone this month, or you're doing stuff with people, and you want to be a good team player, Leo, and also I would say because of the fox, also operate within your boundaries and respect others. So really being a good team player in this sense and collaborating. The key with the clouds and dog is working with someone to find a solution. There can be issues with this person. That's possible. The clouds with the fox and heart can highlight these as well. The fox and clouds can point to complications and having maybe unclear motives, and the heart can suggest someone who is half-hearted. So it sounds like it's about working around this person's current approach, current situation, and I think you're going to be able to win them over. And if it's about solving a problem, then you definitely want to focus on a win-win solution. The man with the fox and sun is also very positive because of the sun. So the key, sun, clover are very bright cards. This is great for work, for a collaboration, for getting along with someone who might otherwise be a bit difficult, and it certainly brings support. So even though the fox can be a bit shady and it has layers of colors, not always clear and transparent, the sun on the other side is very hopeful and suggests good things can come. Again, Leo, I encourage you to maintain a professional and diplomatic attitude. The rider with the heart and clover is lovely across any context. Great for progress, good news, on track to achieving goals, and also being happy as you do this. Also getting along with others. So very nice, warm cards that come in contrast to the clouds and fox. Really nice to see it at the bottom here. The key with the man and rider, also supportive. This person comes through. I think they offer you support. They could be someone senior, like we suggested with the lily, and it certainly helps you move forward with the goals. The dog with the sun and clover are beautiful outcomes, beautiful success, and wish fulfillment and goals materializing. So these are some all around really nice cards, Leo, with a lot of success And it is revolving around a person or some people. Teamwork, collaboration is key. There can be some issues or problems that need to be solved, but that's fine. You're on top of it. You find the right solutions. There are very positive outcomes, and you're able to move forward. So in general, this is where the portrait is heading. We could also be looking at a job opportunity. You could get a job, you could get a project or a customer or something like that, a collaboration. All of these are possible. You could also get support. Someone helps through an issue here, and there are very positive outcomes. Looking at this in terms of a more personal reading, like a one-on-one relationship or friends or, people who are closer to you, the cards are also really bright, but there is a bit of a bump here with the clouds and fox, especially with the heart. So the fox in relationships is a bit different than the fox in work and money and those practical areas. In relationships, the fox is a bit more shady. It represents someone who is more selfish and self-interested. So when we see the fox with the clouds and heart in the context of a relationship, there can be some doubts about how the person feels, how you feel about each other. You could be questioning someone's sincerity, their honesty. And so you could go through a bit of a bump in this regard. But the rest of the cards are really hopeful, and they tell us that you are able to overcome these issues, and in the very least, Leo, have a stable relationship moving forward. I also want to suggest, Leo, that you don't jump the gun or make hasty conclusions about this person and their intentions or the situation. So again, the fox is smart, along with the key. Stay calm, work with the person, collaborate, and work to clarify your thoughts. That's also good with the clouds, and you'll find that you are on the same page and you can move forward with more confidence and more security in the relationship. So really nice cards across the board. I certainly look forward to your thoughts about this, Leo. Let me know how you resonated best with the cards. As always, I look forward to your feedback and your perspective. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, welcome to your monthly reading for July. We have your 3 cards from your astro clock for this month, and they are the Bear, Ring, and Road. So the Ring is a card of relationships, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a card of commitments more generally and involvements. The thing about the Bear, Virgo, is that it makes everything big and important. So this could be an important commitment that you're moving into, and there can be some high expectations here. And the Road on the other side of the Ring suggests that you're going to move ahead with this. Now, I have to say, sometimes the Road in relationships can be a card of parting. I'm not really seeing this here. We're not really seeing separation cards. Instead, I think it's more about the ongoing commitment and the forward movement in the relationship that we're seeing. And it's really the Bear that suggests this. In the context of the Ring and Road, because the Bear is a card of courage and strength. So we see here that you need to embrace this relationship with courage, or step up to the task and step up to the expectations. Now, we don't see from these 3 cards whether this is specifically a relationship or not, and also it can depend on your situation. And we don't see in what context. So if this is about work or a personal relationship. The Ring is often a card of one-to-one relationships, but these can exist in all sorts of contexts. So with these cards aside, let's draw your portrait and see what else we get about them and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Virgo, here is your portrait, and in both sets we see the Bear, and we also have the man in the portrait along with the dog. So this emphasizes a relationship and a person, and the key is mainly the positive cards, and the rest of the cards are more or less neutral. The anchor is supportive though, because it is usually a card of commitment and security in a relationship. So this too has a positive angle to it. Now the Stork is in the middle, and it is a card of change. So is the Road, and so is the Scythe. Now, again, like I said, I'm not really seeing a break off or a breakup. It's the opposite, actually. We have a secure relationship, but there are activities and changes and things that you need to do moving forward. So let's read these lines in turn. We've got the bear, stork, and dog. And again, this bear points to courage and this empowerment. We see it as your first card. So it is a call on you to step up to the task and to take initiative. With the dog, it's probably about making room for this person, maybe getting together with them, inviting them, talking to them, taking a step towards this relationship. The man with the stork and lily is more or less neutral, but it also points to this activity that we're seeing with this person. Now, they can be different people, the man and dog, or they can be the same person. It depends on your specifics. But certainly with the stork in the center, there is a call on taking action, doing things with this person or these people, and being active in the relationship. The bear with the scythe and lily can point to a change in your life path, a change in your career, a change in the way you do things, in your lifestyle, and that could be pretty significant. Now, the role of these people in this context, Virgo, is going to really depend on your specifics. Maybe you need to accommodate them. Maybe some things need to be decluttered and removed from your life in order to make room for a relationship. Some relationships might fall out. I'm not really seeing the scythe in direct connection with a relationship fallout, but there can be such changes. The scythe T crosses the middle column here, and we see it with the stork, and the stork is another card for change. So these two together, they really emphasize this change that you are about to experience this month. We see it with the fish, which is a card of money usually, and it can also represent work, business, and other practical activities like that. So when these two lines are taken together, we see that there can be a big change either in your career, in your lifestyle, maybe in your spending habits and areas like this in your life. And these can tie into these people directly or not. I do think, though, that it's part of the general activities and changes, and I think also an element of refreshing in your overall energy that we're seeing this month. The key with the stork and anchor is lovely. This is a great combination for finding the right solution, arriving at the right conclusion, and making positive changes that allow you to land in a situation of security and strength. So it is important, again, Virgo, to take initiative and make the changes that you need to make in order to create this security and stability that we see in your cards. Now, the man with the fish and dog can represent a few different things. These are people, like we saw earlier. They can be business partners, they can be customers, colleagues, or such people in your life. They can also be people who help you with money, like bankers, agents, and people like that. And on the flip side, they could be an environment or directly people who you spend on. So if this is about expenditures, I would say, Virgo, that it's a good idea to adjust some of your expenditures and not spend so much, and see if you can cut away some things or adjust the situation. That would be beneficial. Otherwise, they are very supportive in terms of your work, your business, potentially an opportunity that comes your way. The bear with the key and man suggests support. Probably lots of support, Virgo. You have someone has your back, and probably also you have their back. There's some really good cooperation and coordination here. So don't hesitate to tap into people who could assist you with whatever you're after. And also remember to live up to the expectations. I think you're in a position to impress people. So take advantage of this, Virgo, and take initiative and do what you have to do. The lily with the anchor and dog is great for a relationship. It's great for a commitment and a sense of stability. So the lily and anchor really put you on a path that is predictable, and they also encourage you not to veer away from this path. So you've made adjustments. You've decided you're going to step into this, and you made a commitment to live up to the expectations or to support the relationship. Here we see things becoming solid and forming in this strong way that supports you and the relationship. Be there for others. Others are there for you. Commit to the job, commit to the task at hand, and commit to these people. So overall, Virgo, it's quite exciting because you're in a position to lead. You're in a position to coordinate and collaborate, and it's looking like it can pay off. not just in some area of your life, but probably across the board as well. It's great for your lifestyle, your career, your finances, and also really good with relationships. It seems to me you're going to be busy and maybe the expectations are high, but it's looking like it's to your advantage overall, Virgo. So don't waste time. Apply high energy to this and step up to this. And it looks like you're going to create a solid situation overall with quite a bit of success as far as we can see in the cards. I hope you resonate with these cards in this way, Virgo. Leave me a comment or two. Let me know how this played out for you. There can be a few different scenarios depending on your specifics. So let me know who these people were, what the change was, and what is it you were living up to or pursuing. As always, I'm interested in your thoughts and perspective. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, welcome to your monthly reading. We have your July cards from your astro clock, and these are the Book, the Man, and the Tower. These are pretty neutral cards, and they can mean a few different things depending on your specifics. But in general, there is clearly a relationship or a person that comes into the picture, and the Book can mean a few things. It can mean that it's someone you don't know yet, and the Tower can suggest that this is a long-term relationship, or it can mean that it's someone who sort of disappeared and is coming back into the picture. The Tower can represent either the past or the future, but it is a card of time and longevity, so it does have that stretching over time action on the cards. It is also a card of things that are official, like legal or administrative and things like that. And maybe here you're consulting with someone in this area. The Tower can also be someone who's an expert. And certainly with the Book, we could be looking at higher education or specialized knowledge. So maybe you're consulting with someone who has certain expertise. So like I said, there can be quite a few possibilities from these neutral cards. Let's set them aside and let's draw your portrait and see what else we get about these three and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Libra, here is your portrait. It's looking, again, layered, a little bit like your astro clock cards. And there's a few different things that could happen depending on what exactly is your focus. In the middle, we have the Fish, which is a card of money, work, and business. So this is the area that can be mostly in focus for you this month. We also have the Ship as your cover card. This can be a card of travel, but it is also a card of pursuing goals and objectives. We do have the Snake, which is a little bit challenging, but I like to see it with the Fish because it points to someone who is very clever with money and being able to achieve goals. Now, another card that stands out is the Coffin, and especially in this position. This bottom right position of the portrait is a bit like a gathering spot for everything that's going on. And the Coffin is a card of endings. So it sounds like you get to the bottom of something, or you might need to move on from it. It is also a slower card. And in fact, the whole energy here is slower. The Ship, the Tree, the Coffin, the Snake, and the Tower are all slower cards. So they can weigh things down, slow things down, and maybe even put things on hold or even end them. So let's get into the lines here. We've got the Fish between the Ship and the Coffin. This could mean the end of a journey, the end of a pursuit, end of a business pursuit. It could also mean that you are waiting for funds to come through, or that you're waiting for your effort to pay off or the results to come in. So again, things are slower this month, Libra, so prepare to be patient. The letter with the Fish and Tree is a very bright combination. This is the brightest one in your whole portrait. This is great news for money and for growing money, for healthy income and abundance. And if it's not straight up about money, it's definitely an opportunity with benefits, with tangible results. So really good news here. It could be an offer, it could be an opportunity, or some news or information that comes in to really support this element of growth. The Ship with the clouds and tree, this is again a slowing down effect. The clouds and tree can invite you, Libra, to take a step back and consider your direction. You could also find that you're facing some obstacles and things aren't really straightforward. And so this, again, causes you to slow down. But the tree is also great for not stressing out. So take it easy. Don't try to force things. The whole energy this month for you is kind of slower. So don't push it. Don't get frustrated. Work through the details as far as you can see them, and other issues that are on your plate. The snake with the fish and bird is definitely about having a conversation around money or this opportunity. The thing about the snake is that it's pretty silent, whereas the bird is pretty vocal. But what we're seeing here is a negotiating approach. So it might pay off, Libra, to see if you can negotiate a little bit the opportunity or the terms that we see in the second diagonal. At the same time, no overkill, and don't reveal all of your intentions. Be discreet and avoid stressing or overdoing the situation. So balance this conversation well. The letter with the book and coffin can again mean a couple of different things. Either there's an announcement of an ending, or the news and the offer or the progress on this situation here is on hold or really slow to move forward. So again, it's looking like a game of patience this month, and this could be frustrating, but in general, it doesn't sound like you can do much about it anyway, Libra, so maybe no need to stress out. The ship with the snake and letter can also mean a couple of things. So like I said, these cards are layered and they have different ways they can apply in your context. For one, the snake suggests an indirect path. So you might find a way to nudge this opportunity forward. Again, we're seeing this negotiating tactic, this negotiating approach a few times. In another sense, the news or the information or maybe some decision that you're making, Libra, you want to be discreet with, and you want to keep it under your hat until it's time to announce it or share it. The clouds with the fish and book is some unknown factors about the opportunity or the deal here. The book, like the letter, along with the clouds and even by themselves, suggest the fine print and the smaller details. And with the fish, I would want to watch out for any expenses or anything unexpected in this way, Libra. So double check everything, read between the lines, ask questions without doing it, without overdoing it. But what I'm also gathering as we take these lines in turn is that it doesn't sound like you have enough information to make the decision. And this is where this person comes in. So we were saying that this person is an expert of sorts or someone who can assist you with something a bit more specialized. They could be the person who's behind the offer and everything, but there's still a need to get into some details here, Libra, and to avoid rushing over them. The tree with the bird and coffin definitely encourages you to slow down and not to act rashly. So I'm not seeing that you can, if you make a decision, I'm not seeing that you act on it just yet. And even the decision itself, I'm not so sure you're able to make a firm, clear decision that you're convinced and you stand firmly behind. This is, again, a month to slow down. There's a few things that are muddying the picture. There are details that need clarifying, and it's also about your own path and your decision making. So slow down and don't make a quick decision. And in all cases, Libra, it's likely that the circumstances won't allow you to rush. That's what we're seeing from the cards. But supposing someone is asking you for an answer or feedback, don't feel rushed. Don't be pushed into this. And I'm even inclined to say, Libra, that if you have to give an answer, I'm looking more at a no, because there's some question marks here and things are they haven't really fallen into place. So see, again, if you can negotiate something, take more time to understand the implications of this, the ins and outs, do some homework about this. And if it means consulting with someone, do that. So that's my thought for this. Now, yes, we do have the man in the Astro Clock cards, but the portrait, we're not really seeing relationships. So this person is not really a personal relationship. So it's not focused on people. It's more focused on the offer itself, the opportunity, the fine print, and all of that, and doing some homework around it. So take some time out, think things through, allow the process to unfold. Don't feel pressured. And on the flip side, if things are slower than you want them to be, don't feel frustrated. In all probability, Libra, there's a good reason for it, and it's still coming through the surface. So don't make rash decisions. Don't act on decisions just yet. Take your time and consider things more thoroughly, and definitely restrain any expenditure or money or, giving anything out or spending on anything. So see if you can put some boundaries around this, at least for the month. Let me know what you make of this, Libra. Again, an interesting set of layered cards. I look forward to your thoughts, your perspective. If you're willing to share, tell me how these cards resonated with you. Thank you for tuning in. Very best of luck with the month. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Scorpio, welcome to your monthly forecast. We've got your 3 cards from your astro clock for the month of July, and these are the Rider, Road, and Lily. It's kind of neutral in here, but there's a clear indication of an action and activity. You are pursuing goals and you're moving ahead with your objectives. The Lily being a card of life path and career, we could be looking at longer term objectives. So they are a little bit on the more serious side, Scorpios. It's a good idea this month to be clear about your longer term objectives and to pursue them, and to stick with the path as you move ahead. The Lily is also a card of work and career, so we could be looking at a more granular area of your life where you are doing well at work and you have that element of consistency. So it sounds like this month is about responsibilities and pursuing objectives and being clear about them. Let's go ahead and put these cards aside, or move them to the side, and draw your 9-card portrait to see what else we get about them and what other messages we get for your month. Okay, Scorpio, here is your portrait, and we have some elements that are in common with your astro clock card, especially the Lily, which we see in the center of your portrait. But we also have the Whip, which is a challenging card, and seeing it on the right-hand side column can mean that there are some issues that come up, especially with money or possibly in certain relationships. Let's leave this for a bit. The Ship as your cover card works really well with the Rider and Road. They are movement cards and they point to the progress and the pursuit. We could be looking at travel as well. So if you're going some places or you're taking a vacation or taking a break from things. So the Ship with the Lily and Fish is actually really good for work, money, and business. There is a lucrative career or an opportunity to make more money here, and also to put yourself on a path of security and predictability. The Fox with the Lily and Ring is also really good with your work. The Fox is often a card of jobs, and with the Lily, we see this area being emphasized, and the Ring is a card of continuity and routine. The Fox is also really good with discipline. So it's very clear, this message is very clear in all of your cards this month, Scorpio. This is a month for being disciplined and consistent and showing up consistently and doing what you need to do on a continuous basis. There is an element of responsibility and seriousness. There's a bit of an atmosphere of that here, but it's definitely in alignment with your goals, and we see that there's some really good outcomes that are possible. The Ship with the Moon and Ring is sort of similar. The Ring is, again, that card of continuity, and the Moon is sometimes a card of work and career. It is also a gentle card that brings a positive energy and a sense of peace and well-being. So with the Ship, Moon, and Ring, it's very clear that you're in your zone and you're pursuing things in a consistent way, and you have that elevated level of commitment towards your goals. Now, in case the Ring is a card of relationships, as in a person, there can be some lovely energy here. There could be some attraction, but I'm going to hold off from making this a final conclusion because we do have a challenging line on the right-hand side column. Now, the letter with the Lily and Whip can point to some difficult news. This could be almost anything. It depends on your specific situation, Scorpio. When we look at the letter T crossing here, and we have the fox on either side, this can be a card of a combination, of news that bring changes. So this path that you're pursuing and this commitment that you are investing yourself in can mean that you shake out distractions, and it can mean that you need to make some deeper changes in order to really stabilize yourself in this path. So that is something that could happen. Another thing that could happen is that you have an opportunity here to pursue a job or to get a project. And this can mean that you move away from certain commitments. So it's like you're reshuffling your priorities. It can mean leaving a job for another job or making such deeper changes in your path as well. That too is possible. The fox with the man and fish is probably someone like a colleague or a customer or someone who's involved in this work opportunity. The fox is not particularly warm in relationships, and it's often deceptive, but it also highlights the type of people whom you need to have, a more distant kind of relationship with, where it's professional or it's diplomatic and things like that. At the same time, Scorpio, these are really good cards for getting an opportunity or getting a project or a customer. We saw the ship with the letter and fox. It could support this. And the man with the lily and the moon with the lily and man highlights this person who could be bringing you this opportunity. Looking back at these astro clock cards, the rider can be that helpful person, because the rider is often a messenger, but also someone who comes at the right time, with support, friendly and warm. And this could be a reflection of this person who brings this opportunity. Now, like I said, this is a challenging line, and it's tricky that it figures on the right-hand side. So there can be some issues that come up as you adjust and as you align towards these goals, these investments, and these commitments. Like I said, you could be breaking away from certain people or certain priorities or commitments in order to reprioritize and reshuffle your path. And in terms of a personal relationship, I'm not inclined to think that the whip and ring poses a problem for a personal relationship. But in case it does, I have to wonder, Scorpio, about the role of the fish in here. If there are people or situations that are draining you, these need to be removed. What you're doing this month is really elevating your commitments to something that's more serious and that's more reliable over the long term. So anything that's draining your resources or compromising your sense of priority, it sounds like you're going to need to shake it out because you're growing and you're maturing and you're prioritizing the more important things. And these priorities are becoming clearer for you. And it sounds like you are going to become less patient with the small things and the distractions and things that aren't fitting with your path. So this is an opportunity, Scorpio, to level up and to become more serious about your journey overall, and to really invest yourself, your time, your resources in the things that are important to you and the things that are going to affect your longer term. So it sounds like there could be a bit of a reshuffling over the short term in order to land and commit over the longer term to this path. It's also really good, your cards are really good for work, for projects, for customers, for collaborations, despite the challenges of the whip. And potentially we could be looking at travel, maybe a bit of a change here, or maybe you travel on business or in order to broaden a little bit your opportunities and your perspectives. So overall, yes, there are relationship cards, but it seems to be more focused on your professional life, your life as a whole, your direction. You're getting serious about this, Scorpio. So now is the time to consolidate into a path of predictability and responsibility. And it's also focused on your prosperity. So I'm not seeing that you're willing to compromise much longer. Let me know what you make of these ideas, Scorpio. I look forward to your thoughts about this. I'd be very curious to know what the challenge was, if there was something that you had to release in favor of this more important path that is materializing for you. let me know if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with the month, Scorpio. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Sagittarius, welcome to your July forecast. We have your 3 cards from your July month in the astro clock, and these are the Coffin, the Moon, and the Heart. Now, the Coffin and Moon often suggest the end of a phase. The Coffin is an ending, and the Moon has that element of phases, so you could be looking at closing something. And the Heart is a card of emotions and happiness, usually. And with the Moon, it is quite gentle, so it does bring up feelings and, sort of the inner dimension of things. Now, another way to look at these cards, Sagittarius, is that you might want to give it some time, a bit of patience for things to unfold. The Moon is also an offer or an invitation, and when it comes to personal relationships or emotions, it can point to attraction and that sort of chemistry. So this could be a slower phase, that's for sure, a slower month, but it doesn't mean that things aren't unfolding. They just have a more inner dimension. Now, of course, these cards can apply to different contexts. So let's set them aside, move them to the side, and let's draw your portrait cards and see what else we get about them and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your portrait, and we've got the heart in here, and we also have the dog and the house. These can bring up relationships and usually a more personal energy, a more personal connection with this person. The rest of the cards are quite bright. We do have the fox and bird. These could be a little bit challenging, but they are also good in other ways. So we're going to see when we get there. We've got the key as your cover card, and the key is a card of intelligence and awareness, and it is very good with manifesting potential. Especially as your cover card, the key invites you to tap into your own sense of intelligence and inner resources and your inner abilities, and you'll find that you're able to find solutions. With the house, the key is often a card of real estate. It points to buying, selling, or other good things usually happening on the home front or with your rent and this area. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be that. That's a more specific kind of interpretation, but it's still possible. Certainly, the key and house gives you access into a certain place, and it's also a combination for success. And with the heart, this is something that you want, and it makes you pretty happy. So these are some really good developments for you this month. So looking back at the astro clock, it sounds like the astro clock cards, it sounds like the coffin is about a bit of patience here. We see it possibly with the tower and with the fox. The road with the house and fox can be a bit tricky because the fox, when it comes to people, is usually a deceptive card. It tends to represent people who are self-interested and selfish and who are not transparent. Those shady types. At the same time, the fox is really good with work and jobs, and it's also very good with discipline and getting things done. So with the road, house, and fox, it sounds like you continue to build on top of what you've done. You are pursuing your work, doing what you need to do. The fox and house in the context of real estate can also point to renting, because it's not like the ownership card. The ownership would be more of the bear. So you could be finding a tenant if you are in business for yourself with a property, for example. These could be happening, and these seem to be working out really good. I would just say with the bird at the top here, you want to vet people well, and also you want to vet your space well if it's on you. But more broadly, the road with the house and fox is really good for getting things done, for pursuing your work, and also it's good for jobs and working with colleagues. It does call for caution and discipline, but it's still on the right track. So the key with the bird and fox, it pays to have a conversation here. Ask questions and clarify things. If you need to consult someone for this, do that. And also be sure to vet people or vet the space and so on. So this is going to be important for whatever it is you're doing, Sagittarius. When it comes to work and colleagues, it pays to have a conversation. I feel that the fox with the bird can suggest types that are not very cooperative, but it's still a good idea to find solutions and to be on the same page. The dog with the house and bear can very much be family, because we have a junior and senior cards and the house. So we could be looking at family. This could be your home, your space, and maybe you're doing things around this month. It's also a good combination for employees and bosses and, other people you're accountable to. But regardless of who you are in this equation, Sagittarius, the idea is really to come together with others, to be cooperative and to be on the same page. So it's a really good time for teamwork, meeting with others, consulting with others, working together, finding solutions, and, bringing things onto the same page. The road with the Tower and Heart is lovely because it points to long-term happiness. The Tower and Heart is very much about that. And with the road, it's really about pursuing this path. So it sounds like even though it's a quieter month and there's a lot of inner energies to what is going on here, things seem to be falling into place, Sagittarius. It's a quieter manifestation, but it's still forming and it looks like it's solid for the long term. The Tower can also represent the past. So if there was some people or a situation from the past that you're, trying to revive or connect with, it looks like it works out nicely with the lovely Heart here. The key with the Dog and Road is great for good relationships and moving forward with certain people, customers, colleagues, collaborators, other people who support you. Or maybe if you're renting or leasing, also this works out well. It sounds like you find the right people. The Dog T crosses with the middle row here. And like we saw, there's a good connection here between the people, the decision makers and employees, or this sort of relationship. The Bird with the House and Tower, I think, is about your long-term vision here. So this is about sticking over the long term, and it T crosses the bottom row with the Heart. The thing about the Bird, again, Sagittarius, it's important to be vocal about certain things, ask questions, clarify matters. I'm also thinking in terms of anything related to home, house, leasing, renting, selling, buying, you need to be good with inspecting. So get into the details and ask questions and get the right people to support you if you need them. The Fox with the Bear and Heart is also lovely, especially because of the Bear and Heart. This could be a very happy time, and also it could feel very empowering and fulfilling. The Fox can be a bit tricky, like we said. It is usually a deceptive card, but it is on the flip side very good with work and productivity and discipline. So from this lovely combination, as well as other supportive cards, it's clear that you're able to be on top of things, Sagittarius, be in control of everything and have a good scenario and a good situation going. And with people, even if the Fox is a little bit tricky, the Bear and Heart suggests that you have space for this and you can handle it. And, whatever pettiness or, people playing against you, I think you easily see through that and it doesn't affect you in any way. On the contrary, it's like you enjoy the variety of people and you're on top of the relationship. So really nice cards, really good for building something, making things solid and putting yourself on a path of security and predictability. Really good with relationships, good with work, good with home, family, and anything domestic. So really bright cards just across the board. They just have a quieter tone. So it might not feel so bubbly, or festive. It's not that kind of energy, but it's like it has a quiet stability on the inside and things, being happy that things are working out in this way. Let me know what you make of this, Sagittarius. Very interesting cards. I look forward to your thoughts and your feedback, how you resonated with them. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, welcome to your forecast for the month of July. We have here the 3 cards for July from your astro clock, and the mouse is a little bit challenging. It's not a big deal, but it does bring up annoyances. We've got the Woman and Garden, and this is a meeting with this person or a get together, or perhaps it's a broader environment where there is this person. And the mouse really brings up some question marks around this person. It could maybe not go so well. You could have doubts as a result of the meeting. You could sort of take a step back, and wonder if this will go well, or or if it's not a good thing moving forward. There can also be some issues that are not related to the relationship that get in the way. Maybe the environment is not nice, or maybe it's a bit of a negative environment, or there are obstacles that come in your way. So it's going to be about resolving these issues and seeing how you move forward. So let's put these cards to the side and let's draw the portrait cards to see what else we get about these three and what other insights we get for your month. Okay, Capricorn, here is your portrait. And as you can see, we have a few challenging cards as well. They're not dramatic cards. They're a little bit difficult. We have the mouse that we also have in the Astro Clock cards, and we have the bird and fox. So they're pretty close to each other here, and they are going to highlight some issues and some obstacles. At the same time, Capricorn, we do have the anchor at the bottom, and especially in this position, which is a bit like a gathering spot for the portrait. And the anchor is a pretty strong card. It's a card of security, and it's going to ask you not to waver, and it's going to ask you to stick with the situation. So it sounds like you're able to get to the bottom of something, even if it's not the highest quality connection, let's say, with this person or these people. It's still a solid card that creates a sense of security and stability. The bird in the center points to conversations and communication. So this aligns well with the garden. It can also be a bit anxious, a bit nervous, and so it does add to the mouse and fox here. The clover as your cover card is lovely because it tells us that you have a very optimistic and bright attitude towards everything, which is definitely to your advantage. It also tells us that the issues don't get to you, like we saw with the anchor, and that you're above them and on top of them. The clover with the bird and anchor is very clear in telling us that your goal is to get to a conclusion. You want to achieve some understanding, be on the same page with this person, and achieve the awareness and understanding that you need. So a conversation is going to be needed for that. The heart on fox on either side of the bird can cause a bit of nervousness here. Usually the heart and bird points to anxiety and worry, and the fox adds an element of lack of transparency. So the idea with the conversation is try to bring out as many of the details that you are seeking out into the surface, and also at the very least get a feel for what you're dealing with here. The clover with the road and fox is good for moving forward, even with caution. It's also great for jobs and being disciplined. So keep doing what you're doing, whether it's a work-related matter or something else in your life. You want to keep moving forward. So remain cautious and vigilant and alert, but still it's a good idea to move forward. The bird between the man and mouse, it's a bit similar to what we saw here. So we had the garden, which is a communication card, and we have the mouse and the person card on either side. So almost an exact similar structure. And like we said, the mouse says that things don't go as well as you would like. There are some issues with this person, or you don't have a great feeling about them, or there are pending issues. So it's likely that not everything is going to be ironed out. At the same time, Capricorn, this is not an indication to drop anything. Remember, your anchor encourages you to stick with it until you can get to the bottom of it. The heart with the key and anchor is lovely. This is the brightest combination of your portrait. This one is also really bright, and the key and anchor suggest a successful solution, a successful conclusion, and certainly one that makes you happy. So be persistent and don't give up on this. Work through the issues, communicate, be in touch, do what you need to do, because the light is at the end of the tunnel and you are going to find yourself in a good situation. The clover with the man and heart is actually lovely. It points to a really good relationship and a supportive person. However, because of the middle row, which T crosses at the man, it's possible that things turn out to be not as you expected. So this can be a bit of a disappointment. But again, Capricorn, the anchor suggests that you don't give up on this. So it's not like the relationship is lost or anything like that. There are issues and annoyances that need to be worked through. They can be at the personal level between you and this person, or they can be situations that are around you and that affect your goals. The road with the bird and key is very much about pursuing this conversation in order to achieve a positive conclusion, a positive solution and understanding. And we saw that you achieved that. The fox with the mouse and anchor is a bit more challenging here because we have these two together. These are problems, annoyances, possibly traps or missteps and things like that. But again, the anchor is a strong, solid card, Capricorn. So you are going to be on top of this. You need to persist until you find a solution. Tap into others. Have conversations, communicate, ask questions, get answers, and you'll find that you are at the bottom of this. So overall, there is a bit of a struggle, Capricorn, but it's not a huge deal. And also there is a very positive conclusion. So again, the key here is persistence and clarity and seeking answers and working through these issues until you get to the bottom of things and find yourself in a positive situation, which you will do. Now, the cards are flexible in terms of what context they apply to. The fox can be a work-related card, but it can also highlight the issues here. So it's quite flexible. It can be a personal relationship where there's a bit of a bump here that needs to be ironed out, or it could be another matter in your life that involves people and that requires this sort of attention. So the message is the same across contexts. Let me know what you make of this, Capricorn. Let me know who these people are, what the issue is, and what you're going to do to stick with it until you get to the right conclusion. And hopefully you do, and certainly share that if you are willing to share. So very best of luck with the month, Capricorn. Thank you as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your July forecast. Here we are with your Astro Clock cards for the month of July. We have the Moon, Tower, and Snake. This is a bit of a tricky triplet because of the snake. It's going to suggest in this context that you move away from something, but to move away gently. So the Moon and Tower can suggest an offer or something that had been unfolding over time. But it sounds like the snake is telling you that this may not lead to your goals. It may not align with you. And so you find at this time that it's a good idea to move away from it and to, in a sense, give up on it. In another sense, Aquarius, another way we can look at the cards is that there needs to be discretion in handling a certain situation. The Tower can be something official, legal, administrative, and with the Moon, you could be working through an offer or getting a deal or something. But the snake requires that you be discreet and also avoid being pushy totally. So these can apply in different contexts. Usually the Tower is more on the official side of things, but we'll see what the portrait cards suggest on top of these three and what other insights we get for the month of July. Okay, Aquarius, here is your portrait, and it's looking really bright, actually, quite in contrast to the Astro Clock cards. We do have some challenges. We have the mouse, and the top row in general is potentially a bit difficult or a bit tricky, but everything here is so bright, and it tells us that either moving away or your patience and your discretion and this roundabout approach that is brought by the snake is going to pay off. We have the bear in the middle. This is a card of empowerment, and it is really lovely. What comes to mind as well is that the snake could potentially reflect someone's envy. So if you're growing or you have some kind of position of power and you're doing really well, you know, it can attract some envy. Now at the top here, we have the mouse, which is your cover card. And the mouse is often a bit challenging. It's not very dramatic, but it does point to annoyances. And as your cover card, it can mean that you're stressed and that you're annoyed with certain things. But it's lovely that everything else is going to help turn around this mood or this situation. The bear in house is really nice for everything that has to do with home and property. And you could be buying, selling, or perhaps you're fixing something around the house. But the bear makes everything big. So you are looking at an improvement. Another way to read this is that the bear represents authority. And so you could be a boss, or you could have a certain connection with this person. because of the mouse, it can be a bit of a difficult relationship. So that is possible. But again, we will see that things are resolved. The bear also asks you to have courage and to step up to things, Aquarius. Maybe you're not in the mood because of the mouse here, but when you step into this and you overcome this initial resistance, you're gonna be on top of things. The rider with the bear and tower, and notice that we have the tower in both cards, is really great for a promotion and stepping up to something important. Usually the bear and tower represents someone like a boss, quite literally, or CEO, or, you know, people at the top. And with the rider here, it's either that you are progressing towards the next level, or you're increasing your responsibilities and becoming more influential, more empowered in this way, or there is a meeting or some kind of movement or progress with this person. Now, I also did mention that the tower can be something administrative. So you could be pursuing certain legal admin things, and they can go really well. But the thing, Aquarius, is that you have to move forward. Like, you have to take initiative. You have to get over your resistance toward this and get going in it. The mouse with the book and tower is an opportunity to overcome your gaps, and anything that is misinformed or you don't have complete knowledge or information, you have to seek it. And this is probably also part of the effort. So you need to close your gaps, Aquarius, and it sounds like you can do this really well. The book and tower are also a combination for higher education or specialization. So maybe you need to pursue some knowledge or information, Aquarius, in order to improve your profile and close your gaps. The heart with the bear and star is lovely across the board. This is definitely a combination for wish fulfillment and empowerment. So again, Aquarius, overcome your mood, overcome your doubt and resistance, and see how you can grow beyond what you have anticipated. Really nice cards. If the bear is that person, probably someone in authority, things go really well with them. So again, these doubts and issues are overcome. The rider with the sun and house is very good news, very good progress. It could also be a visitor or a meeting that goes really well. So again, the key is for you to overcome your stress and your resistance or any negativity that you could be carrying, Aquarius, because there's some really good potential here to turn things around. The mouse and heart is these inner doubts, and the heart and rider can help turn this around. So get past these issues, Aquarius. The book with the bear and sun is some very good news. I really think that whatever issue you are working through is going to be resolved, probably with someone's support, but also because of your effort. So these are some really empowering cards, and they bring healing and wish fulfillment in any context. The tower with the star and house is similar. A bit like the bottom row, there are some very wonderful things materializing for you. The tower, again, can be referring to that environment that is official, related to these legal matters that you're pursuing, and they can go really well. The house can refer to a specific office or a specific person or, you know, area that you are working through, or more generally, we are looking at manifesting something important for you. The tower can also mean that things take a bit of time. Certainly the tower and snake would, the tower and moon. So be patient with this, Aquarius, and also overcome your resistance again so that you can enjoy the success that is in your cards. Great cards for work, for wealth, for this legal stuff or administrative stuff. I'm not really seeing relationships. Yes, there is the house and rider, and there can be this meeting, but I'm not seeing like the one-on-one love so much relationship. But in case it is about that, the cards are still really good, and they suggest some really important steps forward, and possibly also a commitment, because the tower and house, they're more solid cards. And remember, Aquarius, we mentioned that the snake can be someone envious or someone like that. I think with your sense of magnanimity and being on top of things, I really don't see anyone affecting you or getting to you in any way. You really have a position of power here. You just have to embrace it, overcome your doubts, and just be willing to give it that extra push. Let me know what you make of these lovely cards, Aquarius. I hope you resonate with them in this way. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the month. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello Pisces, welcome to your July forecast. We have your July cards from your Astro Clock for this month, and they are looking pretty exciting. We have the Scythe and Bird, and these would be challenging, but we have the Sun at the end of the line, and the Sun is one of the brightest cards of the deck. The Bird is a card of communication, and the Scythe is a card of release, and it can mean something comes suddenly. So there can be a sudden opportunity or some sudden good news that probably takes you by surprise. Change is also possible because the Scythe is a card of release and cutting away. And so there can be some wonderful relieving energy that comes through this month. So let's put these cards aside and let's see what else we get about them and what other insights we get for you for the month of July. Okay, Pisces, here is your portrait, and it's looking a little bit challenging, but what comes through is a change. And the change and this new beginning that we're going to see through the Child and other cards, the top one, for example, is going to be a little bit messy. This aligns with the Scythe and Bird because it can represent something that you're not prepared for. This positive outcome that we see with the Sun, and notice that we have the Sun twice, which is very powerful. There is some really good news that comes through, but working on it or acting on it and how to adjust can feel a bit messy, and it can bring a sense of urgency. In the middle, we have the dog, and the dog can be the person who communicates with you. We certainly see the letter and the writer, so that could be part of it. And part of the situation that you need to work through. The Sun with the dog and clouds can bring up some challenges with this person. It sounds like there are complications that arise and you need to work through this. The Rider with the dog and whip suggests that you turn something down or turn something away. So again, there is an element of release and change that comes as a result of this wonderful news or as a result of this opportunity. So you need to make a change, and it involves people, and it can be a bit difficult with this person. We're also going to see this in other lines. The top row very clearly points to an ending. We have the Sun with the coffin and whip. The coffin and whip is very much an ending, and the Sun suggests that you are looking forward to make this happen. So it sounds like you need to make a change, and it's not something you're entirely prepared for. Even though it's a positive change and you want it, Pisces, the transition looks to be a little bit messy. Things have to fall out. You have to cancel things. It's sort of a little bit all over the place. The letter with the dog and child is a new beginning, and this points to this exciting fresh start that we're seeing that I think is at the core of this whole complication that we're seeing. The dog and child can also refer to a new relationship or a new customer or a new collaboration. So this is probably aligned with this news that is very bright for you. And this news is ushering in a new beginning. You also have to bring people onto the same page. So it looks like the changes that you're going through, they affect other people or they involve other people. So communicating with them to bring things onto the same page is going to be key. The Rider with the road and clouds can be a bit bumpy. I feel that you're heading in a direction, Pisces, that you don't fully understand. So it can cause some confusion, but it sounds like you're still having to go for this. So move forward, Pisces, and see how well you can manage the issues as they come up. The Sun with the letter and Rider is another indication of this very good news. It is very similar to what we see in the Astro Clock cards. There is some very bright news, some very bright prospects here. And being on the left-hand side, it's like it kicks off this whole situation here, which is very much about having to get out of where you are right now in order to respond to this and making changes that could affect people negatively or annoy them and cause these sorts of issues. The coffin with the dog and road is very much the end of a relationship. And looking at the middle line, it's like you are, changing. You're moving from one person to another, from one commitment to another. You're wrapping up your involvement with someone and moving into a new beginning. So this is very clear. And the T-cross at the top through the coffin, and we have the whip. So it is not the easiest of transitions, Pisces, even though it's quite exciting for you. The whip with the child and clouds can be pretty challenging for this new beginning. And it can also emphasize the idea that there are difficult first steps and there are problems as you take these first steps. Another suggestion, and normally this triplet would suggest that you avoid changing, that you avoid moving into a new beginning. It is possible, but at the same time, Pisces, we have to take into account that there is a break and a change and a sharp change that comes through with an opportunity. So if you can manage the change and manage the transition a bit more slowly so that you're in better control, do that. Otherwise, it's likely, Pisces, that in the change or through the transition, you're going to find some obstacles. And also notice that in the portrait, there is a focus around the dog. So the dog is at the center, and the dog is often a card of people, siblings, peers, friends, those sorts of people. And this month can call on a shakeup across the board and across certain relationships. So you could be ending certain connections and breaking away from certain people, embracing this new beginning. So it's not the easiest of transitions. It can cause issues with people. It can be a bit messy. Do your best to see if you can control it or slow things down if that's possible. But that doesn't mean that you do not embrace this fresh start. This new beginning is here. And it can take you by surprise, but it sounds like it's going to be important for you. So it's challenging in terms of the transition, not in terms of the opportunity. And it is also challenging with people, but not in terms of your goals after this. So see if you can balance all of these aspects and see if you can slow things down or control things as much as possible, Pisces, but definitely find a way to make this change and embrace it, because it's looking really bright for you. So the motive for all this, Pisces, is bright, but the way it materializes and what happens next is challenging. It's challenging in terms of the change, the relationships, the fallouts, the new beginnings, not being fully prepared. It sounds like there's a lot that you need to take care of at the same time. So it can feel a bit urgent. Maintain your optimism and see through onto the other side of this, and hopefully you'll soon be on your way to embrace this wonderful opportunity. The cards are also flexible in terms of what context they affect. So if this is work related or strictly in terms of people or something else in your life, it can affect your life as a whole as well. It can affect a certain area of your life. With work, it's pretty clear that you could be changing jobs or at least changing projects and making other deep changes with your work. You could also be changing locations, for example. We don't have the house and the garden, but they are big changes here. Maybe you're renting and you have to get out of your rent and things like that. So all sorts of changes are possible, but they're definitely in your best interest. It's just that the transition, again, is challenging. The more challenging reading, I would say, is at the level of people. And that's because we have the dog in the center. So the relationships can be a bit tense as you embrace this change, but you have to make your decisions and you have to take these steps forward, Pisces. So quite exciting. Let me know what you make of these cards. I'm certainly interested to know how they materialized for you in your specific context. Very best of luck with this, Pisces. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always. And until next time, take very good care of yourself.